quiet corners of a sleeping town, a house stood unaltered by time. Its walls were worn, its windows were smashed, and its crumbling hallways held secrets. Unbeknownst to the villagers, there was a sinister entity within, a cryptic wall clock, with the ability to seal destiny in the crack of midnight. Around 2003, curious ears began to hear whispers of the haunted home. Among others drawn by its mysterious charm was Emily, a skeptic who was anxious to prove false the legends that swirled around the village like shadows. Emily entered and discovered a chamber that seemed stuck in time. Unseen eyes appeared to be haunting the area. A spectral clock with hands that would never stop pointing toward midnight hung on the wall at its center. Emily was unaware that this clock held a sinister secret. At midnight it would chime through the hallways, announcing a fate that would depend on the passage of time. She found a dusty notebook and began to read the stories of people who had looked at midnight. Every item described unexplained fatalities that occurred 7 days after reading the phantom clock's hour. A curse placed on gullible people. The curse struck its first victim in 2003. Emily was one of those curious souls who read the hour on the eerie clock. Their existence ended in an unexplainable disaster 7 days later. The dark past didn't stop Emily from looking further. She discovered the terrifying legends of apparitions, or the ghosts of people the cursed clock had claimed. She heard whispers through the walls, alerting her to what was about to happen. Emily faltered as the lonely house echoed with the eerie sound of the clock's chime. The curse had crept into her own world, and the ghostly murmurs became more and more audible every day. Denied sleep, the ghosts materialized as spectral forms, extending their reach beyond the darkness. The last entry in the diary, a request for relief from the midnight curse, provided comfort to Emily as she struggled with her impending fate. Emily set out to break the spell because she was desperate. Following the spectral apparition's lead, she discovered a lost ceremony that offered her the opportunity to break free from midnight's curse and release the suffering souls. Emily carried out the age-old ceremony when the clock struck midnight and the spirits hovered around her. The clock stopped ticking. The house shook and the spirits vanished into the night. After the spell was broken, Emily came out of the haunted mansion as a completely different person. The dilapidated walls were silent now, a monument to the fortitude of a doubter who faced the unknown and triumphed in the face of overwhelming obstacles. Thus, the murmurs of midnight time vanished into the past, leaving behind just echoes in the deserted hallways of the home that once held the ethereal mysteries of time. An antique home existed in a lovely village situated amid deep forests and undulating hills. Legends tell of a cursed home haunted by a spirit that lurked in the darkness. Few ventured to approach, but Emma, Alex, and Jake, 3 friends, were drawn in by their curiosity. They decided to investigate the secrets of the mansion one rainy evening. They walked past the rickety gate, flashlights in hand, and anxiously laughed. As they crossed the doorway, the air became dense, and the mansion's silhouette seemed to engulf them whole. Paintings of bygone occupants looked solemn as they explored room after room. Alex claimed to hear faraway whispers, while Emma felt an indescribable shiver. Jake, the skeptic, rejected it as a trick of their minds. They entered the enormous ballroom, which was ornamented with dusty chandeliers. The place appeared to come alive as they looked around. The air was filled with faint remnants of a long-forgotten waltz, and the companions found themselves in a phantom dance, shadows swirling with invisible partners. A dark figure appeared at the far end of the room, in the midst of the ethereal dance. Emma's lights flashed as the person approached closer, exposing a long-forgotten face. Lady Isabella, The mansion's original owner appeared, her eyes sunken and sorrowful. Lady Isabella's voice boomed across the ballroom, telling the narrative of a sad love affair that took place centuries ago. A forbidden romance, treachery, and a spell that binds her spirit to the house are all part of the story. Emma, Alex, and Jake were engrossed, engulfed in a haunting narrative. The mansion began to move as Lady Isabella spoke. Rooms were altered, showing historical scenarios. The pals were revisiting the tragedy, a heartbreaking tale of lost love and vengeance. Lady Isabella's agonized whispers became more intense. A supernatural power drew the friends further into the mansion's history. The once welcoming ballroom had transformed into a nightmare domain, with shadows taking on monster shapes. In an attempt to flee, the buddies retraced their ways. The house resisted, displaying terrible illusions and frightening apparitions. Lady Isabella's tortured voice screamed for freedom as they approached the exit. The buddies found themselves outside the mansion, gasping for air after a final explosion of ethereal energy. The mist had lifted, and the mansion stood still as if holding its breath. Emma, Alex, and Jake exchanged puzzled looks. Was it true that they had witnessed the mansion's haunting past, or was it a shared hallucination? The mansion's windows seemed to flicker with a ghostly glow as they walked away, a quiet acknowledgement of their contact with the past. The echoes of Lady Isabella's whispers haunt the companions to this day, a warning that certain stories are tied to the shadows, waiting for interested hearts to bring them into the light. Abigail resided in a secluded village enveloped by ancient forests, where each morning brought the prospect of serenity. A sense of dread, however, seeped into Abigail's cozy cottage on a momentous day when the atmosphere shifted. As she prepared her morning tea, she muttered to herself, "I tried hard, struggling to shake off an uneasy sensation." A disconcerting void engulfed the atmosphere, supplanting the customary auditory presence of birdsong. Abigail noticed a glimpse of motion outside her window as she washed her tea. She murmured, "I saw someone focusing her attention on a shadowy figure positioned among the towering trees." Amid the morning mist, the features of the stranger appeared to be obscured by an unnatural veil. Abigail exclaimed with a trembling voice, "I saw her shadow as the silhouette of the figure inexplicably shifted against the dawn backdrop." Abigail felt a chill run down her spine as the phantasm autonomously generated a menacing enchantment. Abigail, her heart racing, took a step backwards. She confessed, "I have no idea what to do at this moment," her attention fixed on the mysterious intruder, as if the walls of her cottage were bearing witness to a fracture in the very fabric of reality. The ambience within became increasingly somber. Abigail mustered the fortitude to scramble for her phone. "I will dial the police," she proclaimed, trembling her fingers as she entered the number. Each unsettled second seemed like an eternity, and the sense of dread grew with each passing chime. She murmured, "There is no response," a sinking sensation settling into the pit of her stomach. With each renewed glance at the window, Abigail became more cognizant of the stranger's presence. A ethereal and chilling voice permeated the room with a haunting whisper. "Discontinue your presence here, Abigail. You have company." Her chest was tight with dread as she staggered in the direction of the door. Abigail encountered an unseen force that threatened to reveal the truth behind the once welcoming morning's supernatural cover-up. As it followed her every move, the spectral figure contorted into grotesque forms that defied the laws of nature. After casting one last look over her shoulder, Abigail averted her gaze towards the tender dawn. The lethargy of the village persisted, seemingly oblivious to the supernatural drama that was transpiring. Following that, Abigail developed an unquenchable desire to solve the enigmatic nature of the stranger and the ethereal warning. She consulted local mystics, analyzed ancient texts, and solicited the advice of individuals who were courageous enough to explore the supernatural. As Abigail's pursuit of answers grew more determined, the village was filled with murmurs. The whispers of an unfamiliar individual who was bearing a spectral entity that flourished on the dread it incited were a portent of impending catastrophe. Abigail, previously a humble villager, found herself perilously close to a realm that surpassed her comprehension. The mysterious stranger's entrance not only disturbed the peace of the village, but it also revealed a portal to a world where shadows murmured secrets and the line between the supernatural and the mundane blurred. The village, which is currently under the control of an unknown force, witnessed Abigail's transformation from a reluctant participant to an inquisitive seeker after truths that went beyond the ordinary. Abigail realized that her foray into the realm of the supernatural had merely commenced, and that the advent of the unfamiliar individual signified the start of a legend that would endure for all time.